Imagine landing what feels like the ultimate flexible remote gig. You get that acceptance email you've been waiting weeks for, you
Yeah,
know?
you're totally hyped.
Right. You make a fresh cup of coffee, you sit down at your computer, log into the platform, and you are fully ready to make a few $100s today. And, well, your screen is completely, utterly blank. There is just nothing there.
Oh man, it is the ultimate anticlimax. You go from the high of being hired to immediately wondering if you were, like, secretly fired before you even began.
Which is exactly why we're dedicating this entire exploration to demystifying the reality of AI training jobs. We've been looking through this massive stack of sources, research papers, leaked platform guidelines, and, firsthand accounts to figure out what actually happens after you get that highly coveted acceptance email.
Because the assumption is always, I'm in, therefore I work, therefore I get paid.
Exactly.
And that assumption is, it's the biggest misconception in this entire industry. People log in expecting a traditional corporate onboarding where someone just hands you a laptop and a steady stream of assignment.
Right, like a normal job.
Yeah, but in reality, being accepted into an AI training platform is a completely different beast.
I always like to compare it to getting a new gym membership. Just because you pay your fee and they hand you a plastic key card to get into the building, that doesn't mean you instantly have muscles.
Right, you don't just magically become a bodybuilder.
You still have to figure out where the locker rooms are and, read the confusing instructions taped to the side of the cable machines. You have to actually put in the reps.
The acceptance email is just your key card. It literally only gets you through the front door and into the broader worker pool.
Yeah.
So our mission for this discussion is to walk you through the actual reality of the workflow. We want to show you exactly which machines to use, how they operate, and how to build that muscle without getting overwhelmed on day one.
So let's navigate this chronologically. You've scanned your metaphorical key card. You are inside the platform. What's actually keeping you from jumping straight into the work and making money? Like, what's the friction here?
The immediate friction is the administrative setup. Because you are almost always operating as an independent contractor, not an employee, you are responsible for everything.
The paperwork.
Exactly. You have to fill out these complex profile skills to prove your background. You have to upload tax forms like your W-9s, and you have to configure third-party payment processors just to ensure the money can actually, reach your bank account.
I mean, I understand the tax forms. Nobody escapes taxes. But our sources mention this relentless gauntlet of assessments. If I already submitted my resume and passed the initial entrance exam just to get accepted...
Why are you taking more tests?
Yes, why on earth am I taking more tests? It feels like jumping through hoops just to jump through hoops.
It definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
But there is a really practical reason for it. After the admin setup, you face project-specific onboarding. Because every single AI project has a completely different rulebook.
Oh, I see.
For example, a project designed to evaluate complex medical data is going to have vastly different safety standards and formatting rules than, say, a project evaluating creative writing or poetry.
Well, that makes sense. You wouldn't want someone applying strict medical diagnostic standards to a haiku.
You'd hope not. But here's where people get tripped up. The project guidelines aren't just a quick bulleted summary. They're often incredibly dense, 20-page manuals.
Wow, 20 pages.
Yeah. You might have a PhD in biology, but you still have to learn their specific arbitrary rules for how they want a response formatted. You have to study that massive manual, take a highly specific assessment, and prove you can apply their rules consistently.
So it's basically a test on the test.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And only then do they unlock the actual paid tasks for that one specific project.
Okay, so let's say I managed to navigate that labyrinth. The friction of the admin phase is over, tax forms are approved, I read the 20-page manual, passed the test.
You're ready to go.
Right. That brings us to the moment of truth. I log into the dashboard expecting a mountain of work. What do I actually see?
Well, your dashboard can be wildly unpredictable. On a good day, you might see a list of available tasks ready to be worked on. Or you might see new optional training modules that could qualify you for higher-paying projects.
But let's go back to that scenario I mentioned in the beginning. The one that causes the absolute most panic for new workers, the dreaded empty queue.
Right. You log in, you are fully qualified, you're ready to work, and your screen is blank. 0 tasks available.
Which naturally makes the listener think, oh no, I did something wrong. I failed a test I didn't even know about. I'm banned.
It's the most common fear. But in the vast majority of cases, an empty queue simply means there are no suitable tasks for your specific profile, your language, or your skill set at that exact moment.
It's kind of like being a rideshare driver. Right.
Oh, exactly.
If I log into the driver app and I'm parked in a very quiet residential neighborhood at like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, and my phone doesn't ping with a ride request for an hour, it doesn't mean I've been fired from the app.
Right. It just means passenger demand is slow in your specific area right now. That is the perfect way to contextualize it.
Yeah.
The demand for human feedback really ebbs and flows based on what the developers need. An empty queue could happen because a specific AI project hit its data collection limit for the week and just shut down.
Oh, so they just got what they needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it could be because the platform processes tasks in massive batches and you just happen to be between batches. Or it could be that your previous tasks are currently being reviewed by a quality assurance team before the system trusts you with more volume.
So it's a completely normal, unavoidable part of the workflow.
Totally normal. You just have to ride out the quiet periods.
Okay, so let's say the rideshare app finally pings, so to speak. The queue populates. When you finally claim a task, what is actually happening on your computer screen? What is the core work?
The most common setup you'll see is a side-by-side comparison. The screen is usually split. At the top, you see a prompt, like a question or a request submitted by a user. Then on the left side of your screen, you see Model A's answer. On the right side, you see Model B's answer.
Okay, so a classic A/B test.
Exactly. Your fundamental job is to evaluate which response is better.
But better is so subjective. Are we just grading this on personal preference? Like, I think Model A sounds friendlier today.
Not at all. It is highly structured and rigorously defined.
Okay, helpfulness, accuracy, and safety. Let's break that down because our sources spent a lot of time on this. What does accuracy actually look like in practice? Because I assume I'm not just checking for spelling errors.
No, a massive part of the job is deep fact-checking. AI models are infamous for hallucinating.
Meaning they confidently invent fake information and present it as absolute truth.
Exactly. Let me give you a very real scenario. Imagine a user asks the AI to summarize a legal argument. The AI generates this beautiful, articulate response, and it confidently cites a court case Smith versus Jones, 1994.
Sounds legitimate.
Right. It gives you the judge's name, the ruling, the precedent. It reads perfectly. But as the human trainer, you spend 20 minutes digging into legal databases only to realize Smith versus Jones never existed. The AI completely dreamt it up.
Wait, I have to push back on that just conceptually. Why does the AI do that? Is it like malicious? Is it broken? Why would a sophisticated machine just lie to me?
It's not malicious, it's just mathematical. These language models are essentially highly advanced autocomplete systems. They do not know facts the way you and I do. They are simply predicting the next statistically likely word based on their training data.
Oh, I see.
So the model recognizes that legal summaries usually contain a citation, a year, and a ruling. To give you a satisfying, helpful-sounding answer, it just strings together plausible-sounding legal words. It predicts a reality that doesn't actually exist.
So it's basically a people pleaser. It would rather invent a fake court case than admit it doesn't know the answer.
That is an excellent way to frame it.
Yeah.
And that is why your job is so critical. You have to research its claims meticulously to ensure it isn't making things up.
Wow. And what about the other two pillars, helpfulness and safety?
Helpfulness is about intent. Did the AI actually answer the user's specific nuanced prompt? Or did it just spit out a generic, rambling Wikipedia summary that misses the point entirely?
Right. And safety.
Safety is about harm reduction. You have to ensure the AI isn't generating biased, dangerous, or illegal content. If someone asks how to build a weapon, the AI needs to firmly refuse that request, not provide a step-by-step tutorial.
So you look at the two answers on your split screen, you spend 20 minutes researching fake court cases, you judge the safety, and then what? Do you just, like, click a button that says A is better and move on?
It rarely stops at just clicking a multiple choice button. Usually, you have to write clear, highly detailed written explanations for exactly why one answer beats another. And in many cases, if both answers are terrible, you actually have to rewrite the AI's response yourself to show the model what a perfect, ideal answer actually looks like.
Which brings up a really technical concept from the research that I want to make sure we explain simply. The industry calls this RLHF reinforcement, learning from human feedback. But what is actually happening mechanically when I rewrite that answer?
Mechanically, you're providing the data that directly alters the AI's future behavior. When you rewrite that answer, you aren't just fixing a typo for a human reader, you are tweaking the probability weights in the AI's neural network.
Wow.
Yeah, you're mathematically proving to the underlying system that using this specific logic or this specific tone is a safer, more helpful choice than what it originally predicted. The AI generates the rough draft, and the human grades it and corrects the math.
So wait, I'm not programming code. I don't need to sit there writing Python or C++ to make the AI smarter. I am literally just being a very strict, highly logical teacher grading a machine's homework.
That is the core of it. For the vast majority of these remote training roles, human judgment is the product. The developers can build massive data centers, but they cannot code common sense. They cannot code nuanced ethical judgment. You are providing the critical thinking that the machine fundamentally lacks.
Okay, here is where this gets really interesting to me, just from a behavioral standpoint. If my job is essentially grading homework, and I am getting paid by the hour or by the number of tasks I complete, human nature dictates a very specific strategy.
Uh-oh, I know this is going.
Right. Wouldn't the smartest thing to do be to click through as fast as humanly possible, just skim a text, click Model A, type good job, very helpful, and move on to maximize my hourly rate?
I am so incredibly glad you brought that up because that impulse is the #1 trap that gets beginners kicked off these platforms entirely. I cannot stress this enough. AI training is not mindless data entry button clicking.
But if I'm sitting alone in my living room and no one is looking over my shoulder, how do they actually know I'm rushing? How do they know I didn't spend 20 minutes researching Smith versus Jones?
Because they have built-in tripwires. They are looking, the Blackhorns have very clever ways of testing if you are actually following those 20-page guidelines. They use something called gold standard tasks.
Gold standard tasks, meaning like a test that looks like regular work.
Exactly. They secretly mix these test tasks directly into your live queue. The platform already knows the exact, verified right answer for these specific prompts. But to you, sitting in your living room, it looks completely identical to a normal, everyday task.
You have no idea you're being tested.
None. If you are rushing and you skim a gold standard task and confidently pick the wrong answer or write a sloppy justification, your internal quality score just plummets.
Oh, wow. So you're constantly operating with a healthy dose of paranoia. It's like being a highly specialized editor for a publishing house. If I hire an editor to review a manuscript and they just run a quick spell check and miss massive glaring plot holes just so they can bill me for the hour and move to the next book,
Right.
I am going to fire them immediately.
Yep.
One thoughtful, accurate evaluation is worth way more to these AI companies than 50 rushed, sloppy ones.
That editor analogy is spot on, and the platforms also track your consistency over time. If you rate a specific type of formatting highly on a Monday, and then rate that exact same formatting terribly on a Thursday because you forgot the rules, their system flags you for inconsistency.
That's intense.
It is. The consequence of rushed or low-quality work is swift. You will quickly get your access to tasks reduced, or your account will be revoked entirely. In this ecosystem, quality is the single most important metric.
Okay, so since quality completely dictates your access to the work, how does that actually translate to the paycheck? What is the financial reality of this gig?
The pay can actually be highly attractive, which is why these roles are so competitive. General conversational tasks pay decently. But if you have verifiable, specialized expertise like if you are a licensed lawyer, a mathematician, a software developer, or a medical professional, the hourly rates can be very lucrative.
Because they need experts for the hard stuff.
Exactly. You're evaluating highly complex, domain-specific AI outputs that a generalist simply cannot fact-check.
So hypothetically, if I'm a lawyer and I get accepted at a high hourly rate, I shouldn't go draft my resignation letter for my day job just yet.
I strongly advise against drafting that letter. You have to view this strictly as freelance gig work. The work itself, no matter how specialized you are, is inherently unstable.
Feast or famine?
Very much so. You should expect that some weeks will have endless tasks available and you can bill as many hours as you can physically stay awake for. And other weeks, your dashboard will have 0 tasks for days on end because the project is pausing for review.
It sounds like a fantastic side hustle or, a great piece to add to a broader freelance portfolio, but it is definitely not a guaranteed 40-hour-a-week salary with dental benefits.
It requires immense flexibility and a high tolerance for unpredictability. If you need a guaranteed paycheck on the 1st and 15th of every month, this workflow will absolutely drive you crazy.
So if you are sitting there listening to us right now and you recently got your acceptance email, you are probably mentally running through a checklist of day one anxieties. So let's proactively answer the 3 most common questions running through a new worker's mind based on the first-hand accounts we reviewed.
Let's hear them. What's top of mind for a day one trainer?
Okay, I'm going to be the frustrated worker. First one we see everywhere. I logged in today. I am ready to work. Why do I see 0 tasks? Was I already fired?
The answer is no, you are not fired. You are just in the general waiting pool. You have to wait for a project that perfectly matches your specific skills to open up. An empty screen just means no matching projects are active at this exact second. You just have to be patient and keep checking back.
Okay, second major anxiety. They just sent me a massive, dense guideline document for a new project. Do I seriously need to read this whole thing, or can I just skim the bold text and figure the rest out as I click through?
You absolutely must read the entire document. Do not skim it. That document is your answer key. The guidelines contain the specific, often highly arbitrary rules for how that particular project defines good and bad behavior. Skipping the guidelines is the fastest possible way to fail those hidden gold standard quality checks we talked about.
Right, which perfectly leads to the final anxiety. I want to maximize my income today. Should I work as fast as humanly possible so I can complete more tasks per hour? Never prioritize speed over quality. If you rush to pad your hourly rate, you will inevitably make mistakes. You will fail the hidden tests, and you will lose access to the platform permanently. Take your time, be meticulous, do the research, and provide excellent, well-reasoned, written feedback. Okay, stepping out of character for a second. The reason we want to explicitly highlight those 3 questions is because they represent a crucial mindset shift. If you treat this like a mindless data entry gig like, clicking pictures of traffic lights to prove you aren't a robot, you simply won't last long. You have to treat this work as a highly professional skill.
That mindset shift changes everything about how you approach the dashboard. The tech companies aren't paying for your physical ability to click a mouse. They are paying a premium for your human judgment. They want your ability to reason through complex problems, to spot subtle nuances in language, and to articulate exactly why a piece of text works or doesn't work.
So, bringing this entire discussion back to your journey and setting you up for success, getting that acceptance email is a fantastic first step. It is a real achievement to be proud of. But long-term success in this remote industry comes down to a few key traits. You need patience during the heavy onboarding and the empty queue phases. You need to deliver meticulous, careful work once you actually secure tasks. And you need to truly understand the natural, unpredictable ebb and flow of platform availability. We will catch you next time.